I'll tell you what, we'll have to start again. If you give your tip and it just goes, yep, then we're going to have to start again. So hopefully the internet connection's pretty good. Good evening and welcome to Burning Questions. This is the Victorian edition because we now have Victorian and Queensland editions going for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to get to Zac Phillips in a moment because this was scheduled now 4:30. We'll talk about that in a minute. Right, look at these. Steady's got one on too. This is the hip pocket workwear we've been speaking about for the last few weeks. There are more than 45 stores across Australia. Exactly how many more than 45 remains a mystery. Using national buying power, hip pocket workwear and safeties, locally owned stores have a unique place in the safety workwear, corporate clothing and protective equipment market. From the worksite to the office, hospitality, healthcare, sports uniforms, corporate wear and embroidery, hip pocket workwear and safety have you covered. What have you been doing, Zac? It's great to have you on Burning Questions for the first time, but, you said you were feeding up for 20 minutes. Did you feed yourself up afterwards?
Yeah, I might have accidentally fallen into a bit of an afternoon nap after feeding up, but we're here now. That's all that matters. Let's not talk about the past. Let's talk about the present.
Well, a lot of people think that you're Spanish, so maybe you're just going for a siesta. No one can work out what nationality you are, so you might be Spanish. Maybe you have a siesta in the afternoons. Andy Gath, wonderful to have you back on. You've got a Trots vest going on there as well. Tell us this little bit of a spoiler alert. Are you going to be tipping one of yours yet again in the best?
Yes, I will be.
The punters love this. They just wait. They don't actually watch Burning Questions anymore. They just fast forward to find out what Andy's going to tip at $26. And Nikkita, I said this on the Queensland edition of Burning Questions, but for some reason your vest looks a lot better than mine.
And Andy does have a hip pocket vest as well, Bon. So we're the three of us matching. That's very nice and warm now.
And if Zac turns up on time next time, we'll get him a hip pocket vest as well, maybe even a jacket. We'll go to you first, Zachary. The first burning question. Will Jimmy the Dubliner or Irishman or whatever you want to call him continue his stunning meteoric rise on Saturday night? Now, I know you've been watching these because you seem to give a pointed post-race interview where you said he's a good horse. He's not just well placed. So tell us, will he be winning again on Saturday night?
Draw's definitely helped him. It's definitely going to be a bit harder this week. As we all know, it only gets harder as they keep winning. But Draw looks to be in his favour, and I wouldn't say it's any stronger than Bendigo. So, if he was able to jump on the bunny, which I think he can, I think he'd take some running down, that's for sure.
Now just lower that phone slightly so we can see your mouth when you talk, so you're not doing a ventriloquist act. And by the way, we want to see, there's two Zac Phillips. There's one who's one of the funniest blokes you'd ever meet at the pub, and there's the other one who does a Gavin Lang impression when he does post-race interviews. We want the fun, Zac, today, please.
Okay.
Andy, what are you thinking with Jimmy the Irishman? I can't work out. Well, first of all, back to you quickly, Zac. He showed gate speed, but they seemed to give him the lead pretty easily a couple of starts back from gate one. Where would you rate his gate speed if you need it?
Well, he always had terrific gate speed out in New Zealand, and then through bad draws or different circumstances, we weren't able to use it. So when he drew so well in that MO going back a couple of weeks ago, didn't look an overly fast front line. So I didn't really have to push him to where he was sort of flat out of the gate, and he got out good enough then. So, I mean, if I really flatlined him out, I don't think anything would cross him, put it that way.
Do you reckon he'll be winning again, keeping up this picket fence form line on Australian soil, Andy?
Yeah, I think he will. The amazing thing about the horse, he's only had 12 starts and he's already up, rated pretty high.
Is that all you want to say, Andy, or have you got more for us? Get your tongue, go again.
Yeah, again, the horse has only had 12 starts and he's already sort of taken on, very seasoned Metro class horses. To win 6 in a row at this stage, especially in Victoria, is hard to do. I definitely think he'll find the top. He's a horse definitely on the way up. He's only getting better.
Quickly, before I go to Skeeter, this might be a ridiculous question, but out of Jimmy the Irishman and Major Meister, who's a better horse, Zac?
Oh, that's a tricky one.
I thought it was a terrible question, so I'm very pleased that you enjoyed it.
No, I actually didn't mind it. Time will tell, but if I had to own one, I'll go down that way of thinking. If I had to own one, I'd probably want to own major meister. But as far as sheer ability and what he could be, Jimmy the Irishman could be anything.
All right, so that's an each way bet from Zac Phillips there. I don't mind it. Skeeter, what are your thoughts? Does he win again on Saturday night?
Yes, I think he does, Bon. I think 2 starts back at Melton when he legged out a full time and just sprinted home a half. We probably didn't have all of our questions answered, but his performance at Bendigo last time, he was super on that occasion, and I think showed a different side to him. So I don't think this is, as Zac mentioned, a whole heap more difficult field that he faces on Saturday night. So I think he'll find his way to the front and he'll be winning there.
Yeah, I've tipped him on top. It's a horrible story. I met the owners, obviously, in Mildura during the carnival and talked him up and said, you'll get to Melton. He's a nice horse. And then every time he's come to Melton, I've said, this horse will get beat. They're overrating him for sure. So I've tipped him on top here. I might get him beaten. Skeeter, what does the inclusion of Santa Casa Beach do to the Preux Chevalier free-for-all? Of course, rescheduled from a fog-riddled Cranbourne last weekend. And who'll win the race?
Yeah, look, I don't think that Lee will go crazy early trying to cross Always Fast. I still think that Always Fast will lead. Torrid Saints obviously drawn a spot closer this week, which is going to be interesting when Glenn Douglas drives him, and no doubt he will have a crack for the front. But I still think that Always Fast will be trying to hold the lead. So Santa Casa Beach probably won't get involved early. I think we need to remember as well, the horse has come a long, long way in his preparation. He's now racing in free-for-all grade, and he's made that progression a bit like Jimmy The Irishman really quickly. So, look, yes, he can win the race, but I don't think he's going to be one of those horses really putting the foot down early and making a statement.
Somebody's watching a race or some sort of scrambled code in the background. It's freaking me out big time. Zac, I actually think it'll help Always Fast. I thought he'd get crossed last week, but here I think maybe Santa Casa Beach will have a little dip and maybe run cover for Always Fast, which will probably mean he'll keep the front here.
Was that directed at me?
It was just a statement, but you know, in an interview, basically, I just
Well,
make
it
a
was an
statement.
awkward pause,
Then,
so
then you can take it from there, Zac.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in Nikkita's box. I can't see Always Fast getting crossed. And, you know, I think we've heard Lee say before, you know, Santa Casa Beach is not a one-trick pony. He can do it tough. He can sit sprint. He can lead. He can do the works. But having said that, he has sort of raised in class a hell of a lot, a bit probably similar to Jimmy the Irishman, but he's probably just that next tier up. But yeah, I'd be surprised if they did have a dig. I think if they were going to have a dip, that it'd be one way or the other. They wouldn't come out at all, or they'd come out all guns a-blazing and have a really red-hot crack.
Who do you reckon wins the race?
Definitely.
A question for you that was directed straight at you. Who do you reckon wins the race?
If Always Fast gets an easy lead, it looks his race to lose.
Did you say who you liked in the race, Skeeter?
I didn't, but I thought of that afterwards. Malcolm's Rhythm, I think I was with him last week, and I'm sticking with him again if Always Fast leads.
Yeah, I reckon Malcolm's Rhythm this time around. How do you read the race now with Santa Casa Beach involved as well, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm a little bit with Zac. It's all or nothing, I think, before the race. But I think Always Fast, they know great record at lead, and I think it'll lead and up, but not sure it's going anything special anyway. Fast with you too, I probably the one to beat.
We're just getting enough of your words at the moment, Andy, that if you're a qualified lip reader, you can actually get most of the idea of what you're saying. I'll tell you what, we'll have to start again. If you give your tip and it just goes, yep, then we're going to have to start again. So hopefully the internet connection's pretty good. I want to talk about Vandanta quickly. Andy, he's obviously flying at the moment. You saw firsthand with Arden Voyager. He was just unbelievable at Bendigo, but he's been driven off pace. We know he's got this extraordinary gate speed. Does he use it and does he win?
Yeah, I think his first 100 metres. Last ago, he didn't come at all. Zac's go straight across. Mommy talk slower. Yeah, so, yeah, no, I think I'm not sure he's moral if he does. Generally, does like to drive it sprint, but again, I'm sure we have a crack early. Rupert of Lincoln at the start. Have a crack
Early and get past Rupert of Lincoln at the start was, I reckon, what that was. Zac, you look angry for some reason. I don't know why, but maybe you just wanted to hear what Andy had to say. What are your thoughts on Vandanta? Will he use his gate speed again? Will he lead and keep the front? Will he win? And if not him, who will?
Yeah, it's probably one of them tricky ones. It's probably one of them ones when you draw two, they may not necessarily want to use him early anymore, but when you draw them gates, you're sort of left no option. So, like Andy said, I'd say they'd have to use him, and he does look the leader, but by no means would that make him a moral.
Who will win the race?
Sir Letty.
Nice. Interestingly, in the post-race interview at Bendigo, I asked Glenn whether he was planning to use, whether he thought about using Vandanta at the start in that race, and he said it was only 50 metres before the start that he decided not to. Under those circumstances, I think he just has to here because I can't see any pressure, and if he does lead, I don't think he's as good leading Nikkita, but I think if he leads, he nearly has to win the race.
Yeah, I think from that gate, I think they'll have no problems getting across Rupert of Lincoln. So I don't think that it's like Glenn will have to absolutely blast him off the arm and use him up the stack to get the lead. And then looking at that front row, I didn't really find a horse that I think that they would want to hand up to. So that maybe leaves him in front. So look, I think two horses probably win the race, either Vandanta or Sir Letty.
All right, Andy, this is the most important question of the burning questions. And I love it when Zac says that's a tough question. I said this in the Queensland edition. They're called the burning questions. That's what they are. They're difficult questions. We're trying to answer them. We're trying to solve the riddle. Is Majestuoso going to make a statement? Is he totally ready to roll it with a great trial? But trials are trials and races are races. And he's still Majestuoso. He's a wonderful horse, but he's not necessarily, I wouldn't have thought, the kind of horse you can bring to the races first up from a break and just be declaring.
No, I'm sure he's in great order. His trial was terrific against Casa. Been really happy with him at home. But so it's a full field of 12 around Geelong, back row, 100. There's some quality horses in the race. So I expect him to perform pretty close to his best, but he's not going to be winning.
Is he clearly the best horse in the race?
I think he is. Like he's the best trot in my stable. So saying that, so yes, best horse in the race.
You've been saying that since before you got him. It's unbelievable. Poor old Tornado Valley and McLovin. Gee, they live a hard life. Skeeter, I want to go to you for the final of the burning questions. Or Majestuoso, I think he's the best horse in the race. And if he turns up and gets 3 wide cover in off Kiyang Lavana, I think he'll win the race. But he's getting to a very short quote now. He's about 2:15. I don't want to be taking that.
Yeah, no, look, I really, really like that trial, as Andy mentioned, against the Pacers. I thought he was super there, and we know what opinion Andy and Kate have always had of the horse. So there's no doubt he can win, but I thought 2:15 was getting pretty short for him first up, and with that 6 draw and some quality horses engaged. But I think, yeah, possibly on the back of a Kiyang Lavana, she's going to take him into the race. Depends how the race really unfolds. Maybe Kate has to be the one making that move. So, look, it is going to be really interesting. And, yeah, I think he absolutely can win the race, but he's getting very short now.
There's another horse who's first up from a break in the same race, eh?
Yeah, there is. Don't know whether I'd compare his trials to Majestuoso's trials. He's probably a bit of a slow progressor, Magical, and he's probably going to take a few runs to get back to somewhere near his best. So I wouldn't be too worried about him this week. I'd be more looking towards him in the next coming weeks. But getting back to Majestuoso, geez, I loved his trial, and I just love that horse. I love a trotter with speed, and he has as much speed as any trotter I've seen for a long time. So I think if he's in with 5 lengths of the leaders at the 400, I don't think they'll see which way you went.
I was talking about Jackson Square, but thanks for the update on Magical. Anyway, Skeeter, what's your best of the program?
I'm going with Jimmy The Irishman. I think, as I mentioned earlier, he will lead and continue his picket fence on.
What price do you want? I've marked him 250. Is that good enough for you?
Yeah, I'll be happy with that.
You can go with Bond Bet if you want. Zac, who's your best on the card?
I would have said, also got in race 9, he's a croc watcher, but I'm probably not now. I'm probably going to have to say Major Meister each way.
Why you're not saying he's a croc watcher now? Just tell the truth, Zac. This is a safe space.
Just being first up's probably a little bit of a query. It's always hard to be first up at that level. Going to need a little bit of luck, where Major Moss had those few runs under his belt and looks a bit of a drop back in grade for him.
Will you just take off with Major Meister if you have to from back there?
No, I'll drive him with one run. That's it. That's how he seems to be driven best, so that's how he'll be driven.
Drum roll. Andy Gath, which one of your horses is going to be the best bet for Saturday night at Beckley Park?
Yeah, a lot of pressure this week because I'm going with race 1, number 1, Sir Roman. His figure form doesn't look great, but they're really going to help. It's been dying on the fence. Don't laugh at me. You laugh at me every time I give one.
No, I'm not laughing at you now. Like, it's always the one that you think has got absolutely no hope whatsoever, and then they come out and run first or second. So now I've got to include Sir Roman in my early quaddie. Don't leave, Andy. I wasn't laughing at you. All right. Sir Roman. Wow.
I didn't see that one coming. I'll give you the tip.
I didn't see Majestic Courtney coming either, but he just about came right over the top of them and won. Tango Tara, quickly.
Yeah, obviously, cool. Zac, Major Mike. Yeah, I think those two will be the pole horse, obviously. So, yeah,
I reckon Andy said the pole horse is going really well. Dennis William, obviously. So we will actually do we'll put words over the screen here, like a lyric video on YouTube. I love Dennis William. I think he'll win that race, but Captain Belisario is my best on the program. Hopefully he's not too short, but I reckon going back from an awkward draw in a pretty good 3-year-old race, we might get a price. Well done, Zac. Good start. 90 minutes late, but I think you performed well.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Andy. Sir Raymond. God bless.
See you guys.
See you, Skeeter.
Thanks, Clark.
That's Burning Questions, sponsored by Hip Pocket Workwear.